Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
Some Green Bay absentee voters are concerned after being mailed double ballots. This includes Green Bay resident David Baumgart, who votes absentee while living in Florida for the winter. He received the duplicate ballot just days after mailing back the original.
And at first I thought, oh, did they, get my ballot back and there was a problem? But, no explanation or anything. It was just obviously a second ballot. So obviously I didn't send it in because I had already voted.
Baumgart wasn't the only one to get 2 absentee ballots. A total of 152 Green Bay absentee voters received an additional one for the spring election, according to City Clerk Celestine Jeffries.
We sent letters to them already saying that if you've gotten 2 ballots, don't vote them both. Only vote one and destroy the other one at your home. We did get some phone calls, which is how we found out that we did that.
Jeffries says absentee ballots were sent out around the same time that Blizzard Elsa came through the area. Because of this, City Hall was closed an extra day, meaning the clerk's office had to work quickly to get ballots out on time. Jeffries says mailing labels were printed twice, and ballots were sent out before anyone noticed the mistake.
What we need to do is to just make sure that whatever gets printed on labels, that we put a check on that batch. It's literally a batch that these have been printed already.
This incident brings up worries over potential election fraud within the city of Green Bay.
I really don't think it's acceptable for these type of things to happen. So I would hope that whatever the problem is, they would figure it out and make sure that it doesn't happen again.
And for voters like Baumgart, it makes him question the process.
If I had filled that out again and sent it in, would they catch it on the other end? Or since this already slipped through the cracks, would I have gotten a double vote?
To ensure votes don't get counted twice, Jeffries says election officials do a daily audit of the return ballots, followed by a ballot file audit. In Green Bay, Tony Langfellow, Fox 11 News.
Yeah, so what they don't tell you is that chaos favors the op, never favors the people. The more and more I get on this podcast and I sit here and I speak to all of you and I talk about election fraud. Here's how the system works. Here's how they stole the elections. And that's backed up by hundreds of other experts around the country. Like we traced it all the way back to Eric Coomer's doctorate thesis. We literally have now sent it to a couple of universities saying, hey, we need you to verify this information against this math. Is it close? And if it's close, how close is it? And if you were to convert that math over to the math related to elections, how close would it have to be? Would they hunt down a guy that was a drug addict that was headed to prison for 10 years? Would they hunt him down? And who would have hunted him down? Who would have been looking at doctorate theses? Well, we already know the answer to that question. It's the CIA. So we got the Central Intelligence Agency and some rogue agents inside of it that have been doing the bidding of really bad people for quite some time. And here we sit on our side trying to figure it all out. We go to ourselves, okay, what if the elections are actually stolen? We don't have to what if. We have all of the data. But you have this thing that's happening where they say safest, most secure elections in U.S. history. It's all misinformation, disinformation. But every day that disappears more and more. And what we were just dealing with just now was incompetence. And they said, oh, we had a snowstorm that came in, so that caused us to send out more ballots. That way they can cover their tracks. And you say, well, Joe, not everything is nefarious. Well, not everything that they're doing would not be considered nefarious. It just wouldn't. And here's something else everyone should know. You have secret ballots, which means they have no idea who votes. This is how you got to, 120 or 130% of the number of voters that they even have in Michigan that actually voted in the 2020 election. And 2022 was even worse. 2024, even worse in 11 different cities. They continually steal elections at every level, up the ballot, down the ballot. It doesn't seem to matter in all 50 states. And where the cheat starts to get squeezed out of the program, then they say, all right, well, let's go to ranked choice voting. Instead of having normalized voting, let's go to ranked choice voting so that we can knock on our head and rub on our bellies and no one will be able to audit it except for us. The process is designed to steal the voice of the people. More importantly, it makes everyone in the country a slave. And every day there's a new story. You had, Dan Bongino came out and said, oh, he put a bunch of information out there that he knew was false just to see if he could figure out who the bad agents and the good agents are. It's actually really simple. They had a lifeline to three amazing agents, Steve Friend, Garrett O'Boyles, and Kyle Seraphin. They didn't use any of that. They betrayed those very people, standing on the side of some rookie stay-at-home mom whose husband is a power donor for the Democrats, Julie Kelly. And by the way, she's blocked me. Dan Bongino's blocked me. I mean, the whole little crew of I don't call it the grifter crew, whatever you want to call them. They've all blocked me. And it's for me calling out simple things that, frankly, you can't walk past, like election fraud. Here we are, almost a year and a half into President Trump's second term, interrupted by a stolen term, which, by the way, thank God it was stolen because now it actually exposed all the theft across the country. But everything is just chaos. And I want to remind you that Tina Peters is serving 9.5 years in prison, while two Democrats that did were charged with the same crime, but theirs was more nefarious. Those two people got probation, community service. 9.5 years for the woman that actually was able to write 4 reports and show us very clearly how they stole elections. The fact that those 4 reports are not in the middle of a DOJ indictment of everyone that worked for Dominion voting systems by itself shows you that the process inside of our government is so rife with corruption and so disgustingly rotted out that there's not much left of it. And if there was, that'd be the first place you'd look. Above all else, Jeffrey Epstein, everything else, you would have made sure that the person that went to prison for Donald J. Trump would be out of jail, would be out of prison. You got to the root of it. You know it was Dominion. You know it was. You don't think it was. You know it was. Like, we have every bit of proof. And that's not even talking about the reports that show that all the machines are absolutely garbage. And the fact that mail-in ballots were used as the gas to the machines. Like, we have all the information. What are we waiting for? Now I'm going to give you an update on Tina Peters because it gets even worse. Go ahead and put it up. This is from Skiff. A Tina Peters update. The motion disqualified Judge Barrett from the Tina Peters case has been denied for her resentencing. But you're not going to, it gets worse than what I just said to you. It got denied for her resentencing. It gets worse. She said to the judge, she put it in a motion, the attorneys put it in a motion and says, a motion to have Barrett removed from the case. Here's my response. The motion to disqualify was denied by the very shit judge who illegally sentenced Tina Peters. The system is rotted to the core. So Judge Barrett, the piece of trash judge, and just so you know, a piece of trash judge among many, many pieces of trash judges. See, we need to not strip immunity from police officers. We need to strip immunity from judges. Take that away from judges. They're the actual problem we have in our country. Take away qualified immunity, build an entire unit, an entire judgeship based on just people from the community that does not allow for procedure to overwrite fact, which is in essence how these people try to get away from something. They don't like the way a trial is going. They'll sua sponte it and go back and rewrite a motion. And this happens on nearly every case. So there are good judges, but there are not a lot of them. Most of them are like this person, Judge Barrett, who said, "Hey, listen, I may have been angry when I did this, but it was because I heard stuff in the case. But I can be impartial, even though he wasn't impartial when he sentenced her." This is how ridiculous the entire process is. We don't live in a country that is run by laws. We live in a country that is completely off the rails. And frankly, they can murder Charlie Kirk. They can take shots at President Trump. They can do whatever they want. You have radical leftists that just willy-nilly make up laws, and we got to follow them. And frankly, most of our country has had enough. But we find ourselves in this same place, having to negotiate with the devil itself. We can see what the problem is. The matter is, are we willing to do something about it? And then they'll be like, well, you have another insurrection. It's not an insurrection. The system is completely rotten to the core. There's nothing left of it. Short of President Trump actually pushing the button and instituting martial law and getting to the bottom of it and trying 50,000 people for the crimes that they've committed, we're doomed. And we're not just doomed from the perspective of just you and I are doomed. Everyone's doomed. Because the simple fact is that when you push enough people into a corner, they will become vicious. And I know what they're trying to do. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to drive us to a place where we fight each other. And they haven't just rigged elections in the United States. Go ahead and put it up. They haven't just rigged elections in the United States. Compromised Smartmatic election machines were used to conduct successful elections in Haiti through the Clintons. There are over 100 plus countries with the same compromised like tech and software. This was a global operation to enact regime change around the world. They're still active today. When are we going to get to the part where we actually have had enough? We're starting to have meetings, and Colorado is going to be an interesting play. The reason why I took on the office of going after the state office for the state chair for the Republican Party is I believe that we can win the entire state for Republicans. But it doesn't help to do that if it's business as usual, and we have congressmen that go to Congress and they do nothing but take the APAC, whatever they want. We have organizations around the country that have treated the people as if they were plebes and just serfs, slaves. And it continues to grow every day. And they double down on it. And we can see it, taste it, smell it on both sides of the aisle. I think we can take back everything in Colorado, but then are we going to get right back to the same place where we betray the people just like we did in 2024? Where John Thune has stood in the way of passing the SAVE Act, won't adequately fund the Secret Service, and has put the president in harm's way more times than I can count while saying that he's in the corner for Team Trump, but he's not. And MAGA has become, I don't even know, it's become a shell of its former self, almost like the Tea Party. That we finally get to a place where we can rise up and take care and do good by the people, but that never happens. And then I want you to listen to what Nancy Mace has to say and how she speaks of fellow Republicans. It's just unbelievable. Go ahead and play it.
Congresswoman, where do we stand on the investigation into Ilhan Omar? Obviously, there's some, questions regarding her citizenship. She's been referred to the Ethics Committee. Can we trust the Ethics Committee to actually be ethical and do the right thing?
Well, what's happened so far? Like, really, I think the remark is always let the process play out. Right, that's what they always say, and nothing never happens. I tried to subpoena her immigration records, her husband's immigration records, and it was Republicans that killed my motion.
Yeah, and what's going on with that? Do you have any more insight you can share on that front?
As far as I know, nothing's going on, and nothing will go on. That's Congress for you, because both sides protect the other.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Both sides protect the other. Both sides. The system, show me a whistleblower, show me someone that's come forward to bring information about anything, that hasn't been treated like a pariah, that hasn't gotten attacked by both sides of the aisle, the side that's supposed to stand up for them and the side that vehemently opposes them. Doesn't matter where you turn, the enemies will come out of the woodwork. They will call you everything and say that you're not a conservative. And here's Ilhan Omar. This sewer rat knows so little about our country and so little about any country for that matter, that she had this to say about World War II.
The last time the Alien Enemies Act was invoked, it was used to detain and deport German, Japanese, Italian immigrants during World War XI.
World War XI. World War XI. You know, they say that Somalis have an IQ in the double digits if you're lucky. But this is someone that sits in Congress that was able to bilk billions of dollars from the good people of Minnesota. World War XI. See, I'm old enough to know what happened in World War II and what the implications are of World War II. And this sewer rat, let's call her what she is, comes over here to this country, tells us we're all racists, steals money from the American people, sends it back to her country, tells everyone that she's actually a Somali, she's not an American. She infiltrated every part of our society. We've let it happen. And we finally push back and say, no, we haven't had enough. And this see you next Tuesday literally has no understanding of wars or anything. She has zero understanding about anything that has happened outside of the piece of paper that's put in front of her. And you want to tell me that our elections are not stolen? You want to tell me that they're not manipulated in all 50 states? I'm telling you that they're not only manipulated in all 50 states, they're stolen in all 50 states, and you are, in fact, a slave. And when you get tired of being a slave, I'll be here. And this is why they basically have my name marked on everything. I could change my name, like Mark Anthony or something. I should change it to Elon Musk and see if they actually block me. Well, we're going to have a conversation with Rich Guggenheim, who's, by the way, running for Colorado's 25th state Senate District 25 in the state of Colorado. He's a Colorado native. I've had him on before. He got blasted working for the government. He has a PhD in molecular pathology. He's been in public service. He was a former state master gardener program director and legislative program administrator from the Colorado Department of Agriculture, where he basically they went after him. He is a super good dude. Like, everyone calls me and they're like, hey, do you know Rich? I'm like, absolutely. Dude is amazing. And he's super smart. He also started out doing podcasts before I did, back when Moby Dick was a minnow. He's been a constitutional advocate. He's a staunch defender of the First Amendment. And he has also worked on child and parental rights. So he was a legislative director for Gays Against Groomers. And he advocated at the White House and at federal levels for protecting children and the integrity of Title IX. He is a whistleblower and he is a reformer, and he has stood on those grounds, and it's cost him dearly. And so with that said, Rich, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
Well, we got a lot going on. I want to play this if I can really quick, because we have you talked about a second disciplinary hearing against you for exposing them using federal dollars to fund DEI. And you are probably the most driven, morally and ethically driven person that I've met. Like, you are straight down. It's like, it's black or white. If it's over here, you can't do it. If it's over here, you can do it. But they've come after you pretty hard. And I want to give everybody an idea before we go into that. I want to give an idea of what's going on. And so I'll do it in your own words. This is just 2 weeks ago. Go ahead and play this cut.
Hey everyone, it's Rich. I am the Colorado whistleblower and also your candidate for Colorado Senate District 25. I'm coming to you outside the Colorado Department of Agriculture this morning, where I am here for my second disciplinary hearing. They decided after we had our first disciplinary hearing following their investigation and all of the evidence that was presented, there was an opportunity for my attorney and I to respond to that. And they had 7 days then to issue their decision. Instead of issuing a decision, the Colorado Department of Agriculture, Jordan Beasley, who is the appointing authority on this, decided that he was going to reconvene that disciplinary hearing because, according to them, they had additional evidence. So really what this comes down to is that they had nothing on me with the evidence and the extensive investigation that they did against me. This investigation, again, was the investigation where the investigator told me and my attorney that they would not tell us what the allegations were or what the scope of the investigation was because, as I've said repeatedly, this is nothing but a fishing expedition. Disciplinary Hearing 2.0 confirms that this is now a disciplinary hearing that is nothing but a fishing expedition, and they're searching for anything that they can throw at me that will stick. In this situation, what they have found is the transaction log from Easy Fed Grants. That is the reporting system used by the United States Department of Agriculture for us to apply for and submit performance reports and other documents related to the grants that we receive to the federal government. This is the transaction report for the grant that I am alleging has been used to fund DEI training and inclusive leadership training. That report, that transaction log of the submission of the performance report by Aya Boss, me refusing to approve it, telling Aya Boss that she needs to take out the language that mentions the DEI training and the inclusive leadership training, me being told by Gabriel, the grants coordinator for the Colorado Department of Agriculture, to approve it because we are up against the deadline, it going through all of the layers of approval here at the Colorado Department of Agriculture behind me, then making its way to Elvira Tenick, who is the State Plant Health Director for the United States Department of Agriculture in Colorado, kicking it back, rejecting it, and saying we need to revise this and take out this language that refers to the leadership training, inclusive leadership training, and also the DEI training. It confirms everything that I have been saying the entire time about all of this situation going on here at the Colorado Department of Agriculture. So I'm a little confused as to what they think the gotcha is. My attorney is also unsure about what that might look like, but this is where the Colorado Department of Agriculture is going. It just seems to be that they are building the evidence to prove that this is nothing but whistleblower retaliation, and also the evidence that they are presenting is going to make it easier for when we sue them and when the Department of Justice comes after them for whistleblower retaliation. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Colorado Department of Agriculture's response today is. You can follow me on Rich for SD25 on social medias, and also the 5280 based homo for my personal information. And be sure to check out my campaign website, richforsd25.com. Senate District 25 in Colorado actually has the Colorado Department of Agriculture within its boundaries. If you would go over to richforsd25.com and make a campaign contribution today, you can help me flip the seat and you can help me put Colorado first, reduce the unnecessary regulations, and also reduce these fees that are driving up the cost of doing business right here in the state of Colorado. Appreciate your support and thanks.
Has there ever been a history of a whistleblower that has not been retaliated against, that it's gone well for?
No. I think in every single case, I keep telling myself, it's rough, it's not fun, but at the end of the day, justice will prevail. And one of the things that I think is going to be great, Joe, is when all of this comes out in disciplinary hearing 2.0, as I call it, they asked me if I had the email from the grants coordinator in the commissioner's office telling me to approve the grant. And I said, I don't, because you placed me on administrative leave, and that means I don't have access to my computers for work. And I said, however, I requested it twice in a Cora request, and you did not give it to me. So if you can provide that evidence to me, I would love to have it so that I can turn around and show that the state of Colorado's Department of Agriculture is not complying with Cora requests, and they are withholding information that the public has a right to see.
So what's the outcome now? That was 2 weeks ago.
I'm still on leave. I've not heard anything. I don't know what they're planning to do.
I don't think they can do anything to you. I think that's what they're contending is that, okay, the gotcha is the gotcha. I mean, look, you're a really smart guy. So you dot your I's and cross your T's. Do you think they put themselves in a position where they're like, man, I don't want to be the one holding this bag?
I absolutely think that's what's going on. I think they tried to play checkers with someone that's playing chess.
So you are now, you're still on leave. They're probably going to end up having to give you your job back. Do you think at that point they're going to do everything they can to then have you get rid of you?
I think that's actually going to be very likely what happens. However, I also think that they know that they're on notice. I am not afraid to blow this up in the media, and they also know that I'm running for Senate, the state Senate, and if I get into the state Senate, I absolutely intend to blow this up in smart hearing committees and expose the fraud, the abuse, the waste, and the fact that they're flagrantly violating laws in the state of Colorado. Cora is just one of them. Whistleblower retaliation is another one.
Well, let's talk about the Cora. Let's talk about the Cora one really quick. Whistleblower retaliation. Man, I felt the sharp stick of that with Eric Coomer. I've been sued and fined, and man, I don't even know what to say. Like, they have literally taken every shot at me they possibly can. But Cora, this is different because the government of Colorado has, just like the federal government has, used outside companies to fulfill contracts for public good inside of the state, and then says that, oh, we are now unable to provide you any information. So they're able to get around the public trust decorum because they're not the one handling it.
You know what, Joe, it goes back to that. I would say that this is one example of this going on in Colorado, but anybody who's done Cora requests and have experience with the Cora process knows that a lot of times you'll make a Cora request and you don't know what doesn't exist until you start going through the information they provide you. And then you'll read through what they provide you and you're like, well, hold on, it referenced this and it referenced that, but you didn't provide that information to me, or you didn't provide that email to me in the Cora request. And because the Cora, the Colorado Open Records Act, does not have any teeth behind it, a lot of these public agencies in Colorado know that they can openly violate Cora and they don't have to comply because there's no consequences for any agency that doesn't require or comply with Cora. I believe we need to amend Cora, and I also believe we need to amend the open meeting laws that are in the state of Colorado, and we need to put in criminal punishments against the custodian of records who fail to comply with these laws.
All right, so they're getting around Cora requests as well by having signal chats that are deletable. So now they're using entire messaging services that you can't actually track. I know because I use these same messaging apps, but I'm not in the government.
Yeah.
But that's what they're using right now. And I know this to be a fact because 3 or 4 sitting congressmen have told me to go over to an app called Confide. And Joe, go to Confide and I'll talk to you there. Do you know what Confide is?
They do, yes.
Yeah. So go over to Confide. It'll destroy the message. You can't record it. You can't take a picture of it. You can't do any of that stuff. And you can hide your identity. Only you know who the other person is. And so I'm having conversations with sitting Congress people on an app called Confide.
Yeah, it's a problem, Joe. These are the people that are supposed to be elected to represent us. These are the public institutions that are supposed to serve us. And this information that they are not giving us it's information that belongs to us as the people that we have a right to see. And they just think that they don't owe us anything. And they're going to just turn around and say, I'm not going to give it to you. We have the Department of Law in Colorado. That's the Attorney General's office going around and giving state employees training on how to avoid complying with Cora and telling us that if they don't specifically ask for it in a specific way, we don't have to give it to them. And the common refrain that we have is, well, that's under investigation and we don't comment on open investigations. But there's so many tools that they give us to say, use this tool so you don't have to fulfill the Cora request.
So they told you that while you were at the Department of Agriculture?
They give all of us training on that, right? Even the admins, because we get so many core
So
requests.
say, I want you to say it again.
They
So-
tell
so
us, they
they're-
train us how to get around complying with core requests. This is coming out of the Attorney General's office at the Department of Law.
So you have the Department of Law inside the state of Colorado that wants to treat the American people inside the state of Colorado, Coloradans, like basic serfs and slaves. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
I mean, call it whatever you want. Is there another word we could use to describe the people as they're being treated by these people?
It is, it's almost like we see these No Kings protests happening, and yet the Democrats in Colorado and all of these people that the governor has appointed and are in all of these positions appointment in all of the branches of the executive branch, they just think that we don't matter. We're just the people and we can just go away. And if we don't like the way we're treated, go pound sand.
So it's actually not of the people, for the people, by the people.
No.
It's of a select people, for those select people, and to hell with the rest of the people.
And it's all in who you know. We have such a degree of nepotism in the state government. It's disgusting.
Sorry, I'm gonna put this up real quick. Slaves. That is all you are. Welcome to that should get people mad. Sorry, I had to put that up real quick.
What we really need, Joe, is to get people who have been doing core requests and are aware of the fact that these agencies don't care about complying with core, and they'll give you what they think you should have, not what you ask for. And we need to get to.
So why would people not want to give up that information?
They're hiding something. And I think in the case of this email,
they're hiding a lot all the time if they're having people constantly do that.
Exactly. That's the thing. They don't want the public knowing. And that is one of the reasons that I keep saying we got to get more people to do these core requests, do the homework. And when you see that there's pieces of the puzzle that are missing in those core requests, I actually sent an email back to the Colorado Department of Agriculture and the custodian of records. And I'm like, I spent $450 of my own money on this core request, and this is all you gave me. You gave me nothing more than my own emails. Where's the rest of it? And so then they said, oh, oops, we didn't give you everything. And 2 weeks later, they're like, here's more responsive documents.
Okay, so help me with this really quick. You're saying that you went in to get a Cora and you actually knew what information existed. But
Yeah, because I was
anyway, just to see how the Cora would go.
Exactly.
So you basically trolled the Cora process to make sure you could get the information you needed, just to show that the system is absolutely corrupt to the core.
I did an audit and it showed exactly what I suspected it would, and that as someone on the inside, I know what exists. And so when I did the audit and got back what I got back, I knew that they hadn't completed the request and they had not fulfilled all of the information I requested, even after I spent $450.
Well, why would it be $450 if it just gave you back your emails?
They said that it was an extensive request and that request was going to take 11 hours to compile. And so they charge you by the hour.
Shouldn't it be free?
I think so.
I mean, shouldn't you? I mean, I have to comply with subpoenas as a person. I don't get paid to do that. Right? I mean, if you get a subpoena at a court, you have to give them over your information, however long it takes, you have to do it.
Well, and the way I look at it, Joe, when you're asking a public agency for public information from a public servant that is already being paid out of public funds, that should be part of their job. Your job is to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row, and that includes all of the records that you're responsible for maintaining, so that when you get a core request, you just send it out. And this, Joe, is so easy. It was emails, and we use Google for our email system at the state of Colorado. I do not know how it would have been so difficult to go into the search bar in Google and type out who the recipient or who the sender was or what the subject line was, that it took 11 hours worth of work to comply with an email search that cost me $450.
It actually doesn't, because there's a thing called a vault. Right. And you go into the vault system on the back end of Google and you put in those search terms and it'll spit out everything. And then you just put the download button and it downloads them into a file. It takes less than 20 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is, even if it is a very extensive case where it's going to take a lot of time, that public servant is already being paid by the people, and that should be part of the job. It should not be another
Well,
situation
not going to
where
work extra hours, right?
Well, not after 4:00 in the afternoon.
So you're just subsidizing the hours that they're already working because they can't work more hours.
Well, they're getting paid more than their hourly paid. Yeah, and I just don't think that's right. I see that as our state agencies are double dipping.
Well, they are, because they want to make the punishment for the people. They want to punish people as a deterrent to say, look, if you give us money, we might not even give you what you want. But if you give us money, we'll go ahead and we'll give you this information.
We'll give you what we think you should have.
Yeah. I mean, look, Rich, we've gotten to the place now where there's the government in Colorado does not work. Nothing works. Criminals are let out on the street. You lose your job for standing up because you don't want DEI, which President Trump said he got rid of. So you whistle blew on that. They can't find anything wrong with that. You've been on my show twice. The last show that we did, I think like 300,000 people watched it when you were inside my studio. I mean, they're and they know it, and they're pissed off at you because you got your story out, and now you're running for office. At the same time all this is going on, you've also took a First Amendment challenge all the way to the 10th Circuit of Appeals regarding legislative decorum rules. By the way, how's that going?
Well, that's exciting. That last Friday, I found out we're going to be filing our writ of cert for that to be heard by the United States Supreme Court. And if the United States Supreme Court takes it, and I hope they do, I totally think this is another case of the Colorado legislature losing in the United States Supreme Court. They have a worse winning streak, a losing streak, however you want to look at it, than the Colorado Rockies at this point. They're going to be 10-0. And I just think that this is insane. And the problem that you can see right now with
0-10.
0 wins. Yeah. They're just batting. This is, maybe we should set up T-ball for the legislators.
I think you could possibly do that, and they would probably play it, right? But you'd have to get them, special shoes.
Yeah, we'd have to probably make sure that it's also inclusive for all of the different
all
populations.
The
The people who are not sure what gender they are. So we're going to have an issue with that. I hope the Supreme Court takes it. I think it's going to win. My concern, it's, you never know what they're going to take. And at this point in time, I see our First Amendment rights being severely eroded if the Supreme Court doesn't take this up in here and say that the legislature does not have the right to tell you that you have to use respectful names and pronouns. This is the people's house. I should be able to walk into the people's house and say whatever the heck I want to say. And I don't care who it offends.
That's, I think, my biggest concern related to what's going on is what they're focused in on currently, right? Because they are focused in on some pretty weird stuff, right? From letting sex offenders walk free if you don't rape more than 3 children. I think we talked about this last time on the podcast. To a bill that would limit the distribution of single-use plastic utensils at restaurants. That's the most important thing to the people of Colorado, isn't it, Rich?
That's what they're telling us. I was just down at the Capitol on the floor of the Senate, and they're arguing about how we, the people, should not be allowed to have access to plastic cutlery when we go out to eat. And yet there are the senators, the Democrat senators, sitting there on the floor eating their lunch using plastic forks. It is just absolutely mind-blowing, the level of hypocrisy. And I just said, forks for me, but not for thee. And this is where we're at. And they want to say that in the legislative declaration that's at the front of the bill, it said that the people are fed up with getting more plastic than they need when they go out to eat. Nobody asked me.
How is that even a problem? You have people being murdered on the streets. You have people that have the fen-ben, right? The fentanyl ben that are on. Crime is out of control. They had 25 murders in Denver in 30 days last month. 30 days, 25 murders.
The Democrats' focus on this right now is that if we start locking up the criminals, we're going to victimize the criminals. And so instead, they try to deflect and they try to say, oh, well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make it so that you can't have plastic forks because, oh my gosh, plastic is going to hurt the environment and fill our landfills. Plastic forks. And so, I just don't understand why the people in this state haven't woken up to this level of insanity. And I'm sitting there on the floor thinking the level of hypocrisy on this. You're literally in real time debating a bill about limiting my right to have plastic forks while you are using a plastic fork to eat your lunch.
I mean, look, it makes perfect sense to me. I got home and they gave me 4 spoons and I was so pissed. I was like, you know what? I wanted 3 spoons. I only needed 3. I had 3 dishes. Why'd you give me 4 spoons? Rich, I don't actually know why you're upset about this. I just read it and it's perfectly reasonable that's what the people of Colorado want is they want less spoons.
Less spoons. I guess I'm just going to have to learn how to eat my ramen with fork chopsticks.
I don't even know what to say here. I'm completely flabbergasted. Well, everything that comes out of it, and it's because we have stolen elections, by the way, just so everyone knows
100%.
Nobody would elect these people. These are unelectable people. These are the dumbest human beings known to man. These are the retarded of the retarded. Just imagine if you had somebody that was so retarded, so stupid that you're like, man, you are really stupid. And then take it to where 2 stupid people have a kid and out comes a super retard. That is what we have in the legislature. What?
We call her Senadora Gonzalez.
What?
Every other thing that comes out of her mouth is or and there's several senators that are like that. And I just think how somebody that is so ineloquent of speech could wind up winning an election becoming a senator for the state.
She didn't.
They appoint them.
They
cheat on the elections.
This is the most retarded thing. Look, the judges are even worse. I mean, the judge that I have in the Cooper case, who, by the way, is violating my rights and telling me that I can't have an attorney. Like literally, this just happened. Said you can't. He's not allowing my attorney to represent me. This, which is completely. It's. I don't even know what to say about it. It's the craziest thing. And we're appealing it. We'll end up appealing it and winning. But what they're doing right now in the state of Colorado is turning it into the biggest circus. And I don't know how it's going to end, but the more and more people, I have a sitting judge that wants to come forward. I'm trying to figure out how to have that sitting judge come in where nobody would know who the judge is. And I have other previous judges coming in as well. And now I have ex-DAs and I've got attorneys that are all coming forward and saying that, Joe, the Colorado judiciary it's gross. Like it's so bad and it's so disgustingly corrupt that they don't even see the sitting judge. The sitting judge does not see a way out of this without cleaning off the bench.
You talked about legislative immunity. We've talked about that before. You and I have. I think we also need to remove that immunity for our judges.
Yeah.
I think, anybody in government, just get rid of that immunity. And that qualified immunity is one of the reasons why they feel like they have carte blanche power to go and violate the rights of the people.
Well, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. It never seems to end.
That's, Joe, one of the things that I would say to people in Colorado is you hear these stories and you hear it over and over and over. And there's just everywhere you turn, there's corruption. Everywhere you turn, you see the rights of the people being just decimated by our legislature and our governor. So the 3 branches of government are completely corrupt. And one of the things that I would say is don't give up hope. This midterm election is going to be so important for us. We need people to get in there. I say donate. I say volunteer, knock the doors, make those texts, send out those calls, have those conversations with your neighbors, get involved and vote, damn it. We've heard that before, vote. And it is so mind blowing to me that we have all of these Republicans who won't even get up off their butt and get off their couch and go fill out a ballot that is literally hand delivered to you for most parts of the state.
That's got to go away too.
We've got
to get away from mail-in ballots completely.
I agree. I think we need same day ballots and I think we need paper ballots and I think we need in-person voting. And
with an ID.
I don't know. I'm not a woman, like I guess I can't figure out how to get my birth certificate to get a driver's license.
Nobody
That's
has
what they.
problems with this. They think black people can't use cell phones, and they think women can't actually go get their driver's license and stuff to reflect the new name. I don't even have a word for it. Here's the thing that you can do. You can sit outside the thing and be like, click, here's another voter, click, another voter, click, another voter. And you can have counters tell you how many people walked in to vote at a precinct. Click, 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 click. All right, we had 20,000 people or 2,000 people came in. Click, 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 click. 2,000 people gave their IDs. Boom, away you go. How hard is this? It's not hard to have safe and secure elections. It's not.
Nope. But we have a problem.
It's absurd. The stupid is running things.
It is stupid. And I don't know that I see, until we get the right people in place at the Secretary of State's office and we go that route. And I think I'm very frustrated with John Thune. We've got to pass the SAVE Act. I don't understand why that's
He's a traitor.
So difficult to do. Until we do that, we're never going to have a safe, secure election in our country. And, all of these people on the Democrats are saying, we've got to protect democracy. And then you got all the Republicans that are saying we've got to secure our elections. And neither side are doing it. And as Congresswoman May said, each side is protecting the other side. And that's got to absolutely stop. You don't work for each other. You work for the American people.
What's it going to take, Rich? You think we're going to go to war?
I wouldn't be surprised at this point in time. I look at what's going on with another assassination attempt on the sitting president of the United States, and I think that is exactly what they're gunning for. Pardon the pun, but I think they want us to fight each other, and we got to fight the government, not each other.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. All right, so I gotta talk about a few other things because I have time. Do you have time? You have time for me to talk about a few of these things?
Of course.
Okay, so I love talking to you because you're super smart. And what you just said, it just reminds me of the fact that you actually see past you're always playing chess. And I remember when I first met you, you were this is when you were a legislative director for Gays Against Groomers. And one of the conversations that I had with you, and I was like, hey, so you don't have kids? And you're like, no, it doesn't mean that I can't stand up for kids. And I was like, yeah. I was like, yes. And they were basically trying to mule the gay and lesbian environment. And by the way, they've hijacked that too, just so you know. Now it's I don't even know what, WTF. What'd you call it?
LGB OMG WTF plus.
Yes. Yeah. And you said it's just not right that you're able to groom children and doing these things inside the schools. And your biggest fear is that kids would have to go through something that would change the trajectory of their life. And I remember talking to you and being like, this guy is, man, he gets it. What drives you? What drove you to get involved in the Gays Against Groomers? And why was there this big push inside of the I call it the sensible gay community in order to stand up against this stuff?
Well, at the end of the day, I'll say this. I was probably that child when I was little who, if I was born today, they would say, oh, he is transgender. And, the way they manipulate parents nowadays into going along with that, I would have been rushed off to the gender clinic and put on puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones, and my own life would have been destroyed.
Yeah.
And I think
it would have been your choices. There would have been somebody else's choices on you.
That's exactly what this comes down to, Joe. This is not a child saying, I want to go to the hospital and have my body mutilated, and I want to be sterilized, and I want to have all of these chemicals pumped into my body. This is an adult making that decision on many cases on behalf of the parent, and on many cases, definitely on behalf of the child. And I said this. I said, if you think that the LGBTIQA plus community and all of the lobbyists and powerful groups that are in this, like One Colorado, the Human Rights Campaign, the Trevor Project, are going to stop when they have convinced you that a child can consent to sex change operations and mutilation and sterilization, you're wrong. They won't stop there. And we just saw in California, State Senator Anthony Weiner has supported and introduced legislation that would make it so that children can now consent to having oral and anal sex with an adult. So I told you they weren't going to stop, and this is exactly what they're doing. Is now they're trying to convince you that children can, in fact, consent to having sex, and that's absolutely disgusting. This is where I went back to at the very beginning. It is about protecting childhood innocence, and this is a huge step in that direction. And at the end of the day, that child who goes through this gender ideology stuff and winds up on these prescription drugs and winds up having these surgeries, we have robbed that child not only of their future, but their freedom and their liberty to grow up and become happy, healthy adults.
All right. So how do we stop it? How do we stop this? First of all, they're not even admitting they're doing it, but they're doing it. Like everyone knows it. The parents know it. 20% of the kids are now in homeschool environments because the parents know. So how do we stop it?
And you just keep
short of getting 75, 100, 200 men to stand outside the school and take the name and addresses of every teacher that's in there that has a pride flag.
Well, you got to do that. I think that is an important thing. I know dads that have done that. It is going to be the dads who show up to the school board meetings. It's going to be the dads who show up to the state legislature and fight for their kids. If you don't take the time and show up to fight for your child in the schools and in the state legislature, guarantee you that you're going to make time to fight for your child, because the state is going to come take your child away, and you're going to have to go through the family court system to try to get that child back. And it is almost impossible to win at that level. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I encourage people to get out and vote. Vote for the candidates that you know are going to fight to protect your child. Vote for the candidates that you know are going to fight for family rights and parental rights. Vote for the candidates that are going to stand up to this kind of insanity and say, we aren't going to listen to the LGBTIQA lobby. We aren't going to listen to the teachers' unions. We aren't going to listen to the medical industry, because they're all the ones that are profiting off of this. We're going to shut them down. We're going to put them in their place. And we're going to say, we're going to protect families. We're going to protect children. We're going to protect girls and their rights. And we're going to protect sex-based rights for girls on the courts, on the fields, in the bathrooms, in the showers, and in the locker rooms. This is where we have to stand up. And I'm so tired of the men. It is time for the men to be men. It is time for you as dads, as husbands, as fathers, as uncles to get in this fight.
Well, look, I think that there's never been a time I've had a conversation with you that I wasn't intrigued about the way that you see things. Like, you see things pragmatically and from a lens of just right versus wrong. So let me ask you this last question, because it came up, and then I'll let you go. Do I look like an anti-Semite? Have I ever acted as an anti-Semite?
Not to me. People, Joe, look, people are going to say...
I did say the synagogue of Satan, but it's in the Bible twice. Actually, it's in the Bible 6 times. But
I don't think that's anti-Semitic. But Joe, one of the things that I've learned with the Democrats is they are wordsmiths. They love verbal gerrymandering. That's why they use things like gender. They're verbal gerrymandering, and they're going to be masterful at taking words and phrases out of context. I can't wait to see how the Colorado Times Recorder or Kyle Clark picks up on some of this. One of the things that I've learned in this process, hey, look, Kyle Clark, I've said it to him before. I'm like, don't mutilate and sterilize your daughters. You seem like the type of father who would. But at the end of the day, one of the things that we have, I say this all the time, what other people think and what other people say about me is none of my business. I don't care what you say about me. I have a mission. Your opinion and what you think of me is background noise, and it's designed to distract me from my mission. And that mission is right now to protect children, protect families. And I'm focused on my campaign because I want to win, because I want to get in there. I want to hold our government accountable, and I want to fight to make Colorado affordable, reduce the regulations, reduce the fees, and protect our constitutional freedoms.
Well, I think I'm going to do everything I can to make sure, by the way, I get you elected. So I know you have the primary that you're going through right now. Who are you up against right now in the primary?
I don't have a primary. I'm going straight on to the general.
Are you really?
I am.
Yeah. All right. So I'll be stumping for you. How do I, we got to get the Democrats to vote for you too. And in your district, it's like 55% unaffiliated. We got to get them to vote for you too. So here's how, I'm going to just give you a little advice really quick. This is how I think you win, right? Give the people a voice. Go into that district and say, look, let's have a town hall. Tell me what you need. then commit to each and every one of them that you will take whatever it is that is important to them, that you will take it to the legislative body and you will fight for them. And if you do that and say, look, what do you have to lose? Like, what do you have to lose? Because frankly, what's happened thus far up to this point has not been good. So if you do that and you walk into that area and you talk to the people that are poorest among you, I promise you, you will have an immense amount of success. And I'll be there. Just let me know, and I will be there. I will literally stump for you. And that what comes with that is both good and bad.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think those town halls are important, and that is part of the plan. Both real in-person town halls, and I plan to do town halls on X so that people can tune in on X and say, look, I might be at work, but I still want to make my voice heard and ask you questions.
But even Google, do like a Google Meets deal. You can literally get 70, 80, 90, 100, 200 people on there. I do town halls twice a week now, just to talk to people that are on the CRC, ask them questions about what they need related to the state party. But if I'm the state chair, you're going to have plenty of money, and we're going to have plenty of ability to win this race, because I'm going to go get it. I'm going to go get it, and we're going to win back the entire state. We're going to win everything, man. It's going to be like Christmas. We're going to win all 64 counties from the bottom to the top. It's going to be all Republicans. Now, the Republicans, if we do this, you only got one shot. Like, you can't have that tomfool. You can't go into the poorest neighborhoods in Denver and say, we're going to promise to do these things, and then ignore them, because they'll get you out as soon as they got you in, right? But if you honor them, and you go back to the community and say, look, they're fighting me on this and this and this, and then you ask those constituents to come to the Capitol and help you fight, man, and you empower them to get involved. You've never seen a more powerful group of people. And yeah, many of them will be Democrats, right? But they'll switch. They'll switch hit, Rich.
Joe, I've already seen it happen. I had a conversation the other day with she is a San Francisco Democrat lesbian, and she called me up and said, I saw one of the posts that you made in your stance on this issue. And she said, I want you to know I support you. I'm going to get all of my lesbian friends to support you also. And so I think when you just say, look, my job is to represent the people, and I can't do that if I'm not willing to listen to you. And as a woman, I want you to know that I know what a woman is, and I'm going to fight like hell to protect your rights as a woman.
Yeah. Awesome. Rich, thanks, brother. Thanks for coming on. How do people find you, and how do they support you?
My campaign website, Rich4, it's spelled out FORSD25.com. And on social medias, SD25.com, except for Threads. They just suspended my account.
What?
Don't know why. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea why it was suspended. I literally had 3 posts on there since I created the campaign, so they suspended me. So it is what it is.
You do have to go in and register. So there is a registration process for political campaigns.
All the rest of them are fine, and it's Threads is connected through Instagram, but they're all fine.
Just put a thing out for Instagram. I can show you how to do it. I
appreciate the insight.
All right. Rich, thanks, brother. Appreciate you very much, and I'll support you. I have to support a lot of people, so I'm probably not gonna max out for you, but I definitely will send you a donation.
Well, I do appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. Take care.
Bye.
All right, we're gonna switch gears now. By the way, Rich, he's a good dude. He's a really good dude, and he went to ask for the endorsement. He has my endorsement, by the way. I didn't get to say it while he was on here, but Rich, if you're listening, you have my endorsement, and I will make sure that I do everything I can to get you elected. Now, we're going to switch gears a little bit, because I want to work the problem. And John got kicked out of a city council meeting in Philly. Everyone knows my past, right? I sold drugs when I was 16. I'm from an interracial family. I grew up on the East Coast. My brother was murdered by a police officer in 2017. I mean, the whole thing. And my brothers hated the police. FTP was literally tattooed on my brother's arm. But I have never felt more connected to the community that I left. And I grew up in the hood. I've always felt guilty about the success that I've had, the things that I've been able to accomplish. But more importantly, I felt like there's this gap between, there's this power. The density inside the inner cities is so great. And there's this power that can come that we don't even realize how much power we have. And the only time we actually see the power we have as people, if we set aside economics, right? Yeah, so so they can't go buy whatever they want in those environments. And yet they should, if they were given the opportunity, if opportunities were inside their communities, the amount of success that would come from that would make there'd be a lot less shootings, a lot less crime. There's these deserts that exist, these food deserts, these education deserts, these opportunity deserts. And I was lucky I got out. But I grew up with a lot of people that didn't get out. They didn't have an opportunity to get out, or they found out too late. And so I don't think it's a Democrat versus Republican thing. I think the Democrats have betrayed every bit of the inner cities. They betrayed every bit of the people they say they represent. The only people that eat are the people at the very top. Everyone else, they just get empty promises for decades. It's like Stockholm syndrome. You get nothing, no meat on the bone. And whatever meat you do have on the bone, they get to decide to give it to you, and they can take it away from you at any time. And I'm not just saying just take it away from you. They can just come in and arrest you and do something. There's 100 different things you do wrong, from jaywalking all the way up. And they will devastate your family and step over you to give money and entitlements to foreigners. This is the life of the inner city, of the largest population of people in the country. And I want them, as John does, because he wants to flip Philly red. I want to flip Philly. I want to flip Denver. I want to flip DC. I want to flip all of these places to a party of the people. More important than just flipping it red. We can start there, but we have to take over the Republican Party and make it a party of the people. See, the Democrats have always been about themselves. Party of the KKK, done some terrible things, right? It's been able to survive that with, Margaret Sanger, somewhere in the middle of all this, was allowed to walk in and fool the communities in the inner city, fool mostly black and brown people, mostly black people. Black people are the most betrayed people in the country. And I'm sorry, by other black people and white people, white liberal women mostly, but betrayed and told, hey, go genocide an entire generation. We want you to kill all your babies, and we're going to tell you it's a right. They were smart enough to see that it's not a right, but hungry enough to see that they didn't have much of a choice. You take away choices, take away hope leads to high crime. There's just a bunch of things that happen. And when you treat people like animals, you're not going to expect them to come out the other side any other way than how you've treated them. We perpetuated this problem. We've allowed it to happen, but the Democrats have literally drove their own community into the dirt. And John is trying to do everything he can to pull it out of the dirt. And he's saying, hey, you have a choice. So the next hour is devoted to John. And I wasn't going to go 2 hours, but today I am. So I'm going to play this clip first, and then I'm going to bring John McAuley in. So go ahead and play it.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Allante McAuley. I'm with a grassroots organization called Flip Philly Red. We're here to offer you something different because you've been voting Democrat for the mayor's office for the past 70 years. In regard to these ICE out bills, they have statistics coming out of the country of Sweden that says because of their open border policies, that 1 out of every 4 women can be expected to be raped. These are things that I think as city council make it difficult for ICE to find.
Listen up, everyone.
I need time back on the clock.
Listen up. Listen
I
up.
need my minute back.
Listen up.
No, I need my minute back. No. They
Listen
interrupted
up.
me. I need my minute back.
Excuse me, sir. I'm actually running this, so let me handle this how. Let me handle this how I need to handle this.
Thank you.
You know what, then? Call on the next speaker, please.
How you gonna do that?
Call on the next speaker, please.
Stephen Bronskill.
Call the next speaker.
Stephen Bronskill.
I believe in the right of freedom of speech, but not disrespect. Not disrespect, sir. Please call on the next speaker.
Stephen Bronskill. Lisa Volta Zaloom, David Alexander Jenkins, Jackie Zaneri, Lynn Landis, and Robert R.
Thank you very much. Please call the next speaker. Now let that run viral.
Good morning, council member.
Please begin, ma'am.
With that, John, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me back, Joe.
What the hell is wrong with that dude? Seriously, disrespect? How much disrespect does it take to actually tell a man that you don't have a voice? Get off my stand.
Well, I mean, he's not used to being challenged. That's, the ego with him in a city when you got all the liberals kissing your ass. You the big shot. You the big dog on the block, and he's never had another man pretty much reject his whole ideology and challenge him in front of a room full of his peers and people that really look up to him. So it's a shocker for him, and I understand it. But he's in a lose-lose position. If you let me speak, I educate everybody, and not necessarily the people in the room. Yeah, but once again, like that's being recorded. I get to show hundreds of thousands of people online. If you don't let me speak, you reveal your hand and show people who you really are. You're a communist anyway. So, it's a war. And we spoke about this the last time I was on here. So I understand what it is.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the Flip Philly Red.
Mm-hmm.
Philly is in a bad place. I mean, it's in a bad way. I mean, let's just call it what it is. It's crime ridden. You depending on you flip a coin whether or not you get robbed, raped, killed, shot at, stabbed. It's a mess
for sure.
So when we look at how messy it is, let's trace it back. You now have hurt people,
mm-hmm.
right? And they got an entire city filled with hurt people that are broke, desperate, don't have anything, education's through the toilet. I mean, the only thing that they have to take, right? The scraps have become smaller, and this is indicative of why crime goes through the roof. So much I want to say that I'm not going to say, but I have to be careful because I'll get blocked from my own channel, on my own website.
Right, I understand. So, we did a flag wave yesterday, voter registration town hall. You've seen some of the content over the last 24 hours. We had Chicago Flips Red, who first started going viral. They came to the city to help support us. So shout outs to Danielle and Zoe for coming through. This is the first time I actually met them in person. We did some Zoom calls a month or two ago for the first time. But to give you an example, right? Because we was in North Philadelphia, and you just said, minutes ago that it's not just about flipping it red, and I 100% agree, because you have your establishment Republicans who have not made any effort to save Philadelphia, fight for Philadelphia. And so it's not just one party. We call it the uniparty. It's been the Democrats as well. But it's also been the Republicans. And so, yes, we're trying to take over the party, this new coalition that President Trump, it started, I guess, before him, but he was, the catalyst. He was the guy who said, he's going to make the party in his image. And so it was a black woman out there, and 92% of them voted for Kamala Harris in 2024. And so, right, so it was one black woman that was out there at the event. I don't know how she, whether she just was, I think she lived in the neighborhood. And so she was out there listening to us speak at the town hall. She gave us an open air. She saw us waving our flags, American flags, Trump flags. We had our Flip Philly red gear on and our Big Ten up. And so she wasn't off put by it. She wanted to hear what we had to say. She was thinking for herself is what I'm getting at. And so she ended up grabbing a flag herself in the middle of the event, and she's standing there on Broad Street in North Philadelphia waving a flag with us, right? And so she liked what she was hearing. That's the thing, I don't know if it was her mom or her auntie who came during the event at some point, saw her, made her put the flag down, gripped her up by the arm, and dragged her off. And she started fussing at her going down the street and told her, "We are Democrats." And this is in a poor neighborhood in Philadelphia. And the anger that she had at her daughter for thinking for herself is you could tell why the city is the way it is because auntie and mama is ignorant. And a lot of the men, they're ignorant as well. And they want to remain that way. They want to fight for their poverty. So when you got the Democrats' message is, lack of resources, which is BS, because we always ask, where does the money go? If the Philadelphia School District is facing a $300 million deficit right now. Well, they gave us a soda tax, a sugar tax for that a few years ago. And they said that was going to go to pre-K and that was going to go to the schools. They just had a budget hearing not too long ago that's explaining where the money went. That money did not go to the schools. The majority of that money went to parks and recreations. Now, I said last night at a town hall that I am for beautification. I am for the upkeep and the rebuilding of the city so it doesn't look so poor. But you told me the specific tax was going to the schools. So now you want to implement an Uber tax and an Amazon tax to make up for that $300 million deficit. So they say it's a lack of resources. No, it's waste, fraud, and abuse. And so it's not a lack of you get money, you just steal the money. And so when you got people fighting to remain on Section 8, you got people fighting to remain to get food stamps. If you get a good job and you don't have that little window that you would need to build that cushion up, and they kick you off of these programs. So, it's generations of how we got here. It's all the GOP let it happen for whatever crumbs they was able to receive in the city. And it's systemic across the country. So it's not just it's not just about flipping it red. It's about flipping it red for one, because this culture and these policies will give you a better chance of quality of life. But it's also this new coalition has to take. So it's multiple battles in this one big war right now.
Well, how do we get into the, personally, I think you can do it one by one, but you also have to have the ability to walk in and have a conversation with that woman that's yanking on her daughter. Like, why are you Democrat? Right. And there's so much entrenchment because they're so afraid. I mean, they're so afraid of who's causing. They were told that stab that they got that's still stuck in them, it's a piece of, they broke it off. Right. And it's infected, and they think that it's the Republicans 2 districts over that did it to them. When in actuality, it's the people that say that they're there to help them that have actually done it for them and done it to them, right? So what's, John, how do you think, and this is us working the problem, how do we get to a place where we can have conversations, sensible conversations? Because I had one with 300 people, Democrats in Aurora, and they wanted to eat me like a meat sandwich. And by the end of it, they asked me if I'd become a Democrat. I was like, why would I become a Democrat? I'm trying to tell you why not to be a Democrat.
Right.
Let's come to the Republican side.
So the battle is, like I said, it's multiple angles to hit this conversation. You said we work in a problem. I told everybody last night when I started the town hall yesterday, I said, I like President Trump because if you look at what the Democrats doing, they're not even here in Philadelphia. I don't know what I think they're doing this across the country too. Whoever's campaigning right now and for next year, they're not even saying that the Democrats are not campaigning against their opponent. They're campaigning against President Trump. That is their whole entire platform. So I started out last night saying, I know you see me with all this red on. I'm not here to convince you to like President Trump. I like President Trump. I don't care if you like President Trump. Now that we're past that point, let me tell you about these taxes. Let me tell you about, all of this, fraud and these things that you're voting on because of race and gender. I talked about here on Broad Street, one of the biggest streets in the whole entire country, that this mayor has put for safety reasons. It's always for safety. They put a 25 mile per an hour speed limit on Broad Street. If you go above 25 miles per an hour, you will get fined. Well, who put that in there? A Democrat did. Who was it? It was a black woman. You voted for this person not because of common sense issues or common sense policies or what's in the best interest for yourself. You have this stupid fine now, another tax, another backdoor tax. You voted for this person strictly off of gender and race. Now, when we have these type of conversations, because it's been effective, you had to find people with discernment. I realized that I cannot save everybody. That woman that was yanking on her daughter, whether that was her auntie or whether that was her mother, I know she's probably too far gone. And maybe, hopefully, that girl goes down, that little girl, that younger woman, she goes down that path, that rabbit hole when she's by herself, maybe when she's with her friends. Maybe she keeps an open mind as she gets older and gets away from, her family members. And so when you're doing platforms like your platform, platforms like I have, I'm trying to reach as many people as possible who have discernment, and we can have an intelligent conversation and we can go back and forth. Tell me why you like who you like. You can sit here and tell me all day till you blue in the face why you don't like. And really, it's really just President Trump with who they don't like. But if I took away the buzzwords, if I took away Republican, Democrat, President Trump, communist, socialist, capitalist, if I just talked about literally the issues, what's common sense to you? We have one of the biggest public transportations. We got SEPTA here. They got $400 million in 2026 or 2025 just to keep operations moving. But we just keep giving them money, but there's no restructuring going on. So why does it make more sense to keep giving you the same X amount of dollars when you're not stopping the sexual assaults of women? You're not stopping the kids from smoking marijuana on these trains. You're not stopping grown men from drinking Bud Ices and 40 ounces on these SEPTA trains. And it's not safe when people are trying to commute from home to school and work and back and forth. And so in any other businesses, if this was the private sector, if you was getting this type of performance, it would be some restructuring going on. People will be getting fired, laid off. And so, and that's any aspect in business, but in the public sector, God forbid we do that. Here, she's trying to give us the Uber tax and the Amazon tax. This is an alternative to SEPTA because SEPTA is not efficient and it's not safe. But you want to tax people from using Uber or using Amazon, make it harder on the working class. You want to do these things and say that this is the better way. This is insanity. This doesn't make sense. And so it's just explaining that and having a conversation and hoping you can change hearts and minds.
Well, there's got to be a better way to get through to them. There's got to be a visual way that we can get through to them that they're experiencing, right? And
yeah.
While I was sitting there having conversations with these 300 Democrats now almost 10 weeks ago, I had to bring it down to the basic level of compare and contrast. Now, again, I have 300 people. I let them talk for 3.5 hours, right? And a lot of this is that people don't ever feel like they have a voice. So you get 300 people in a room. When you talk at them, it's different than having them talk to you, right? Because you build. They get to hear from everybody else in their community too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I listened for 3.5 hours as each one of them told me what was wrong, like how they saw their community and what was wrong in their community. And yeah, there was a couple stupid people in there that frankly were stupid, right? They said stupid things like, I need another marijuana clinic or something stupid, right? But a vast majority of them said the same things that they say over in Republican land, right? With people that just want better education and want trade schools and opportunity for our children, and we want lower crime. And I mean, the things that I heard, it made me go, we're not any different. We're not any different. But at the end of it, I asked how many people had an abortion, and I got some information out of that. And I said, how many would you still have an abortion if you had free healthcare and free childcare? And it went from 100 women that put their hands in the air to 10. They would still have an abortion if they had free healthcare, free childcare, right? And I said, well, illegals are given all that money for free healthcare and free childcare, and they step over you and they offer you the only thing that you're allowed to have, and that is genociding your children, right? Genociding another generation, and they do it under the guise of that's your right. I said, but the illegals get it. People that don't belong here get it. So they're spitting on you and giving it to illegals. How does that make you feel? And the place erupted. Like they feel it. They feel it. So they could finally feel or understand what I was saying because I compared it to what was really happening. And I don't know how to get enough people in the room where they'll listen because there's so much pain. So much pain. I mean, Democrats are pissed.
Well, a part of that too is you're dealing with people, trying to get people in a room. I don't care how popular you are, how big your platform gets. It's hard when you got people who have their personal issues because they have you working all day, right? In order to bring home a decent check, people are putting in 12 plus hours, 16 plus hours in a day. You got kids, then you got your leisure time. People are hooked on fantasy football. You got people, we spoke about this before. You got, people are so distracted now, so it's hard to really talk about the issues. And so when you got and part of this is just where the money's going on our side for, say, we on the Republican side and the GOP, they don't spend any money like the Democrats do on messaging purposefully. And so when you're not speaking about, like, the Democrats spend all this money about, and they try to play to people's hearts. Are we the ones that care about the, humanity? The illegals, they have it hard. They're trying to escape the cartels. They're trying to, do this. Our big machine are not in it to do that. Our machine is in it for whatever crumbs that they're getting, whatever, contracts or backroom deals that they're getting to stay in office. That's why Senator John Thune doesn't want to pass this, the SAVE Act. How does Congress have such a low favorability rating right now, but you're still able to win elections and keep your seats? Well, you're benefiting from the fake elections just like the Democrats are. There's no way somebody like a John Thune or Lindsey Graham can keep their seat.
No,
unless
there isn't.
Unless you're benefiting from election fraud as well. And so it's not, we don't care. We're not spending our money on messaging. When we're trying to build from the muscle, we're trying to build our platforms, from the ground up. So we have, we can hit a video that might get 100,000 views. Something really might go viral and get to 1 million. But it's harder when you don't have that machine behind you, like the Democrats are spending $300 million on fake protests. And it's all psychology. When you got people who still watch CNN, who still watch The View or MSNBC, even their local news, their local Channel 10, their local Fox, they don't know really who George Soros is. We say these things. We know what they're doing behind the scenes, the Lloyds of London or whatever like that. We know who these people are, but the average Joe Main Street, when he sees 100, I don't know if the numbers are, say if you got 10,000 people down in your city hall or whatever, and they're all holding beautiful signs. Everybody's dressed alike signs. We know they're crazy. We know these protests are fake. but that's $300 million that they spent of our money to make the psychology that play. It's hard to compete against that when our side isn't spending not nearly none of that to compete with messaging.
Well, this is, I think, one of the things that led me down the path to get a platform that gave me access to, personally, it gave me access to TV, radio, billboards, everything for pennies on the dollar. And, you know, my company had done business with these other companies, and I was like, all right, I need to go do this. And so I did. I bought into this platform. And the amount of success we've had has been tremendous. But then I started looking at, even if we did have $300 million, John, they would spend, that would add up to like $15 million in buys, because the grifts would be at every level. They'd be taking their cuts. By the time you get down to the bone, you have 8% on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 8%'s left. There's not enough money, meat on the bone in order to get that done. And you're not going to get the earned media because you don't own CNN and everything else. And so there's not an appetite right now that I can see to do right by the people if we don't start capturing the people. Does that make sense? Like the people at the very top, they're just, I mean, President Trump excluded, there's not an appetite to spend the money that's necessary to get the message out there. So we've got to be able to be more creative on how we create those opportunities to get that message out. And maybe we got to
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to add to this. Sometimes because me and you, people like me and you, we so deep into the fight, and we don't never take a moment to look up and breathe, right? We're in the middle swinging our sword every day. We wake up. We don't have to get motivated to do what we do. No. We wake up and we're going. We're trying to learn at the same time, retain at the same time, and we're going out there producing it at the same time and giving you a product to where you can learn it. And the news cycle is so quick. But I want to say, sometimes I have to remind myself that in 2024, 78 million, and probably more if it wasn't for the election fraud, because the states that Kamala did win, they don't have any requirement for voter ID. And so, mail-in ballots was still in effect. So I'm pretty sure the margins probably was even wider, and he probably won by more than what they said he did. But let's just take what we got, right? 78 million. I have to remind myself that it's not 50-50. The country is not close how the CNN will portray it. And sometimes I forget that because I'm in the middle of the fight and I feel like I'm not reaching enough people. But I want to say that being here in Philadelphia, because of my old walk of life, we started out the show talking about your old walk of life. And like I said before, for the people who haven't unfollowed me yet, for the people from my old life who haven't muted me or blocked me, they don't always engage on my posts. If they see me go viral, they'll tag me in the post to let me know that they see. Like, it's sort of like, yo, I'm proud of you. Even if they don't agree with maybe the president on everything, they might personally want to see my success. But sometimes I will get men. It's majority always men. They will be in my inbox. They don't always engage. They don't always post political content, but they'll say, I agree with you, yo. Like I'm on the red, I see what you're saying. And I'm like, dang, okay. So what I'm doing, like, it's resonating. It's working. Like, and I don't stop to look up and breathe all the time because I'm just fighting. And so I just want to say that to you. Like, I believe that if the country is more red than what they're portraying it to be. And that's why they're fighting so hard to not secure our elections. We secure these elections. All right, 20% of the country, 25%, we probably never be able to reach them. They too far gone. Some of this is mental health issues. And you can't solve that,
So that leads me down to, well, if it is working, then how do we reproduce it? How do we reproduce the parts that do work and make sure that it's spreading more across other cities too? Because turning Philly red would be great, but turning every city red, I mean, can you imagine? But here's what we contend with, though, John, and this is a big problem. We contend with betrayal on the side of the Republicans as well. Like they are owned. They're owned by people that they have to do their bidding. And so we also not only have to get people to convert to the side of the red, let's say the People's Party, but we then have to give people we have to give people the ability to come together and say, all right, Now that you're red, now we have to make promises. We have to make sure our candidates make promises to the people to say, I'm not going to betray you, right? That I'm not going to take the pound of flesh or the money from the special interest or lobbyist groups. But right now, we don't have that. That's not where we're at. It's not the situation we're in right now. Yeah.
It's going to take people like with a mindset, like, because we come from a different walk of life, so we know people. You got to use your discernment. When you got when I see in Philadelphia, or even Pennsylvania, because this is where I'm at, everybody wants to run for office, right? And it's like, and I'm judging you, like I'm looking at you, like, are you competent? Are you real? Are you a real person? Are you a salesman? Are you a car salesman? And I can I haven't been doing politics all my life. So when I'm hearing people with these long story careers of how much they've been doing, and I'm seeing how effective you've been or not been, and I'm seeing what's working for you and why it's not working for you, or whatever the case may be, it's going to take more people getting off the couch, real people like me and you, who decide to step up for these positions, and people who are in a position to do that. We have people who want to join the movement. A question that I hate, even though I know it's genuine, and I welcome it, I don't want it to stop coming. It's like, how can I help? I hate that question. It's because if I start telling you how you can help, you're going to give me 1,000 reasons why you cannot do that, what I'm asking you to do.
So you'll be like this.
Yeah. So listen, you know how much, you know what you're capable of. You know what your position in life is, whether your work, your life, you know what your family life situation is. You know if you just want to be a donor. You know if you want to run for office. You know if you want to go to city council with me. You know if you're good with the with spreadsheets or whatever the case may be. You tell me how you can help. And so the more people who hear us talk and say, I can be effective, I'm good at graphics, I'm good at merchandise design, right? It's the little things. So I feel like when you get enough people to find out where they fit in at, then we will get better outcomes. Because a lot of people see, I'm not shy, right, about what I want in my life. I feel like, I'm very honest, and you get people who try to sell you BS. Like they lie about wanting to be successful, right? I've never seen a microphone or a camera that I did not like. You can tell, like, I like going in front of city council. I love it. I'm fighting for my country. Yes. Two things can be true. I'm on the right side of it. I'm fighting for God. I'm fighting for my country. I'm fighting for my family. But I love it. I love to speak. I've never been great at anything in life. I felt what I was great at. So you'll get people that'll look you dead in your face and lie to you and tell you they don't like the camera. They don't. But the thing is, you got people who do it for the wrong reasons. And so when they finally get in power, they'll compromise everything just to stand next to this person, to take a picture with this person. I've had people who was talking big crap about Flip Philly Red, me and a co-founder criticizing, critiquing all our little moves last year in 2025. 2024. This is what you need to be doing. This is what you should be doing. Now that we're gaining traction, now that I'm doing interviews, now that you see us going viral, now you see the big accounts throwing us up. Now everybody want to come take pictures with us. Now everybody want to come stand next to us now. I don't forget. I know who you really are. So that's the problem that we face in the party.
I'm telling you right now, I passed your name out to some of the biggest names out there, podcasters.
Thank you.
And and I'll have you on as many times as you'll come on. I saw your video. I saw your video and I was like, I sent it over to the team and I was like, get him on now.
Thank you. I'm forever grateful for that. Listen, it means the world to me because I dreamed about being important in life. I never knew it was going to be for my country. This was not on my bingo card. I just knew I wanted my last name to mean something. I knew I wanted to make my mom proud for all of the wrong things I was doing in life once life started clicking for me. And so I feel
God had it on his bingo card for you, bro.
He had it on his bingo card. Thank you. Right. Sure. So I feel like if you could get more people to use their talents to do the Lord's work, to do what's right, we'll have better outcomes. They're hearing us talk about politics in 2026 for the last few years now, more than they've ever heard us talk about politics in the history of time, probably since I've been paying attention. They thought this was going to go away or die down a little bit.
Yep, they did.
If you talk about football and basketball every day, all day, I don't care how exhausted you is hearing us talk about politics. Remove me from your feed then, because I don't want to hear people that say, I don't like politics. I get burnt out on politics. Politics is every day, all day. Soon as you step outside, the world is political. So I need you to care. So we got to continue to have these conversations and hope that the righteous people step up and do the right thing, once they get in position.
What if we changed it a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
What if we created it, we gamified it? What if we could gamify it? What if we could gamify the ability to get people involved based on belonging to, like, being warriors, right? Remember the 18 to 25-year-olds that ran on the beaches of Normandy, right? Mm-hmm. They knew they wouldn't be fathers, knew they wouldn't be husbands, knew that they wouldn't have children.
Right.
But they did it anyway because they knew that the cause, like they could see the light, that they were doing this for a noble reason.
Right.
I think there's a lot of noble people out there that would get involved if, and frankly, getting involved is no different than standing on a street corner. It really isn't.
You make a good point. You make a good point, because I've tried to, this new coalition, like I guess my generation and maybe a little bit younger who's joined in, like I try to have fun with it. Like it's daunting, right? It's real. It get dangerous. You see the president, they just try to kill him again the other night. Yeah. Charlie Kirk, was assassinated. You get people who get it. This is real life. It gets daunting, but I don't know how, but I still try to have fun with it. So when you talk about gamifying it, you kind of, I don't want to use this word, but I guess, you make it like a cool thing to be a part of. So you are a superhero in a way. In real life, this is the real life adventures. So like I put up, just to have fun with it. When Danielle and Zoe came, Chicago Flips Red.
Yeah.
And
amazing. They're amazing, by the way.
They're awesome. So when I'm putting my little montage together, pictures to throw up on Instagram, you got different platforms for different things. When you're swiping, somebody might have 7, 8 pictures up on the thing, right? This is to go into what you're talking about. What I did was I took our picture, we took a group picture. I took that picture and I made it into a comic book. I put it into one of them AI apps. I said, transfer it, make us look like, some superheroes like in a comic book, and have with the word bubbles up and all of that, just to have fun with it. But you have to have that mindset that, you are a Tony Stark, you are a Bruce Wayne, you are Selena Kyle, whoever you is, whatever you got to do, whatever inspires you to get up and say, I'm gonna fight for my country. This is important for my kids, for the next generation. This is what I got to do. Whatever you have to do to make it entertaining, do what you got to do. Because there's nothing more important than what's going on right now. I can't hit you all at once to tell, because it's going to be too much. You're going to think that I'm lying. You're going to think this is a Bruce Willis movie if I tell you have crazy billionaires and trillionaires around the world that wants to enslave us all and kill half the population, because this is a game to them. This is the Hunger Games for them in real life. These bankers, that comes from the beginning of time.
So I think that we can gamify it. I think we can get people. I mean, you call it warriors. Look, people join, but we got to be. Here's the problem. We got to accept people where they are, not where we want them to be, and we've got to be okay with government infiltrators coming in. And as soon as they try to break stuff up or create problems, they're out. Right. So our ROE's got to be tight.
I'm so glad you said that. Because people want to keep, and this is true. And I want to tell people, I get it, Sherlock. I get it. That's what I want to tell people. I know it's both sides. You're not telling me nothing that I don't know. The longest the devil exists, there's never going to be 100% righteous side. You're going to have infiltrators, but it's to your point, you just got to get them out. I don't have the money, the influence, or the name, or the connections to start a whole new party and have the resources to keep it 100% pure. I just know the culture, the ideology of this, what I'm standing behind, what it was originally intended to be, this is closer to God. And this is why I'm on this side. It's never going to be a perfect side. You can start whatever you want to go start, it's going to get infiltrated.
Yeah, and people are going to have their idea of what direction you need to take it in, but they're like, hey, look, the ink's already dry there, bro. We're already headed this direction. If you want to join us, here's what we're doing, right? So and then you have a committee which will also get infiltrated because people will then pop their heads up. So you got to have the ability to pop them out too and be like, boop, nope, you're out. Boop.
Yeah.
But if you gamify it, then people will want to show up. Like, all right, listen, we have 6 board meetings. I need 200 people to show up, right? Pointify it. I don't know. I mean, people like to have fun. I think it should always be fun. Like, I have fun being on the podcast. Right. I have fun getting involved in politics. I have fun when I'm fighting. I'm a weirdo. Like, I literally, if I get down, if you come at me and I end up having to throw you around like a rag doll, I'm having fun. I'm smiling the entire time.
That's a different mentality to have, man. That's a warrior mentality. I love it, bro. That's why we really brothers for real.
Yeah,
I had that same
100%.
I like to fight. I want to fight. I'm just fighting for the right reasons now. It's not even about winning or losing. Yeah, we need to win so we don't want to be enslaved. But I like to fight.
I've never seen a fight I didn't like. Sign me up. Come on, let's go. I mean, it just, and I think that mentality, if we can get away from the good, bad, indifferent, all this stuff, like, everyone wants to be good, to avoid being bad. I don't care if I win terribly.
Yeah.
I just want to win.
Yeah.
Like, if a cardboard box underneath my car, I got to do that for a couple of days, and that causes us to win, I'll do it. Sign me up.
Oh yeah, we have, because of the side we're on, we have, like, I call them the super Christians, right? And I tease them a little bit. And so sometimes they'll get on President Trump a lot about some of the things that he says or and I'm like, do you understand these people tried to kill him multiple times? He has 97% bad media coverage, the worst than any president in any history of time. He's been sued more than his administration has been sued more than any president in the history of time. He's had 34 fake felonies. He's had the impeachments, the Russia hoax, all they call him a pedophile, all of these things. And so when he decides to lash out, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm saying I have grace for him because I understand if somebody was trying to kill me, then I might be a little short-tempered with people too. And some people might get called piggies. Some people might get the bird every once in a while. Some things might come out that you're not used to hearing. You know what I'm saying?
But they've captured the vernacular. They've captured it. And then the Christians have captured it on our side to capture us. They tell us that, you know what God wants? God wants just love. No, Jesus flipped tables, okay? And the Bible is filled with stories where you had to fight. And frankly, the idea that you're upset over somebody's vernacular and president said mean tweets or whatever, are you equally upset at the fact that they're grooming our children, cutting off penises, genociding an entire generation, and taking away opportunity from Black people while importing this replacement theology from foreign countries that, frankly,
they're not angry enough, and it pisses me off. I'm like, that's not even a comparison. I don't care.
How in the world? Good. Get upset. Get upset at that. Now come over here. They're going to cut off this little boy's penis. How do you feel now? And they're like, oh, I think it's wrong. That's it. Yeah. That's it. I think it's wrong.
The same thing with the Iran war. It's the same thing with the Iran situation. He said, first of all, he didn't start a new war, but I'm not even going down this rabbit hole of this Iran thing. But you have people.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, look, I don't like war ever.
Right. I don't want people to die. Right.
But enough's enough, right? We've done this thing where we've kind of sniffed around the edges, and take care of it. Now, the part about Israel going into Lebanon, I think is diabolical personally, because Lebanon didn't do anything. It's sitting on the sidelines. Right, you go in there and destroy churches and do what they've done. It's unforgivable, frankly.
Right, I understand.
But you can have the two things can be true at the same time, right?
Everything is very nuanced. It's not just always black and white. They'll say that they're attacking Hezbollah in there, and Hezbollah is hiding in the churches, or they're hiding in the schools and stuff, and that's why I had to kill the children. But and
it's not right, bro. It's not right. You don't have to kill children. Period. And stop.
Right. It's never going to be a good reason to do that. War is nasty. You know, it's not.
It
It's
is.
not. And if I tell people, if America was to pack their bags up, if say even Israel, for all of the wrong that they do, right or wrong that they do, they was to stop doing what they're doing. You know how many women, how many men, how many fathers, how many brothers, how many husbands, how many sons have been killed over the generations over there? When if we pack all our bags up, do you think they stop doing what they're doing, Iran, trying to get
No,
revenge?
no.
Do you think they stop
We've
funding
already the ink's dry, bro. We've already killed enough people that we've created a whole generation of terrorists.
Right.
So you're not gonna stop. We should have stopped it 50, 60 years ago if we're gonna try to do it. Right now, we're just servicing the symptoms of all of the things that we've been doing over the last 50 years.
Exactly. So when you know China, if they don't produce their own energy and they need, you know, Iran and these other places, and all of this comes through that route of the Strait of Hormuz and all that, it's very nuanced. You know, China's our enemy. You know, some of these other countries over there don't produce their own energy like America does. So, you know, it's a very nuanced conversation, and it's, you know, but I just, man, I just have this mindset that I'm in this fight. It's a war. It's a war. It's a spiritual war. It's a war where we're at. And we need more men to step up. We need more men to embrace it and get in the fight, man. Get in the game.
Well, I tell you, I think we're in a place where it's not getting better. It's getting more obvious, right? But here's my problem. We're not just fighting the Democrat Party. We're fighting a rotted judiciary where these judges, they're disgusting, right? And everywhere. I mean, you want to fix the system, take away immunity from judges, right? Make it so judges can be charged for crimes that they commit because they're committing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We have a rotted legislative branch that basically betrays the people on both sides of the party. We have stolen elections that are allowing all of these people to be put in their positions. I mean, if I started loading you up on all the problems that I see, you'd go, okay, we can't solve it, but we can solve it. We can build density and we can actually get people in the, I actually think I was sitting here, I wrote a bunch of things down on gamify, go work that problem. I'm going to sit over here on my whiteboard that's behind me and I'm going to literally gamify this deal and be like, okay, here's how we get people involved. And then I'm going to call you and be like, John, we've got it. I've got the key.
Got the plan.
Key, bro. Let's go.
Right.
But we got to recruit. You know, I said this 5 years ago. We have to create unlikely alliances.
Yeah.
And people are going to get mad at me for saying this. So I know GDs, Bloods, Crips. Mm-hmm. I know them all, right? I know a bunch of them from and I've played football with them. I've broke bread with them. I've prayed with them.
Yeah.
We've got to have some unlikely alliances.
Right.
We've got to build unlikely alliances and we've got to go there. We've got to pray with them because these are the people that I've never seen anyone at the lowest point that didn't want their children to literally have access to opportunity, no matter where they are.
Yeah.
Even the most lost individual. And we have to start figuring out a way to get people to work together that wouldn't even pass each other on the street. Does that make sense?
You got a point that they're not ready for this conversation yet. And so I tell people, right, like I personally, John Allante McAuley, I personally have embraced conservatism. Mm-hmm. That's me. So yes, I'm a MAGA Republican, so whatever label you want to put on me, but I've chosen to live a different type of life. Not everybody that joined the MAGA coalition is a conservative.
Right.
Not everybody that came over here is living that type of Christian type of life. You know, it was a coalition. You've had Muslims that came over here. You had Jewish people over here. You got Chinese people over here. You got whites. You got all different. You got gang members that was putting up Trump signs and all this in 2024. You had this. They chose to go about their life a different way to how they wanted to obtain the things that they felt that was necessary for their family. Are we going to agree on those things? No. Did we used to do some of those things? Maybe, sure. Did we change it at a certain point because we felt this was, more conducive or better for our lives? Absolutely. You have a segment of our coalition, this Republican coalition, who probably will never accept that, won't accept that, not ready for that conversation. But you got to remember that we are all Americans.
If
And
you
so
want to win, that's the party, bro. That's the party. The People's Party, the American People's Party.
You're going to need people that's willing to do things that you're not willing to do because you don't have the stomach or the heart to do that. Now, you know, they had the mindset, they had that type of temperament, they had that type of energy in them to go get results. You know, you got to do some things that are not pretty because we're being attacked right now, you know, by these globalists and these people that will do satanic things.
They're not satanic, bro. I mean, I'm going to tell you something. The loyalty inside of these these Satanists are on one side, these gang members. I don't believe that most of them are satanic. I believe that most of them are good people. As a matter of fact, they believe in God too.
I'm talking about the globalists. I'm talking about.
I agree with you.
Yeah. I'm talking about not necessarily them. You know, you got people, Christians, they Christians and they gang members or whatever. You know, and you're not living a Christian life. I'm not saying you're walking with Jesus, but you got people who might have a rosary in his hands and like,
south side of heaven, bro. South side of heaven. South side. Right on that edge. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not saying they live
really close. Life. It gets hot down there because they like the heat, but it's not there yet. They're still in heaven. Still in heaven.
Right. So, you know, but yeah, to your point, man, you're going to have conversations with people you never thought you was going to have conversations with that try to save America. You know, they're willing to act.
Pray, stand, speak, act. Those are the 4 things that I tell people they have to do. I built a coin around, and it's all biblical, right? And I put on, you know, the armor of God. So I wear a ring. We got a bunch of brothers that wear rings, and but the concept of it is that pray first, so you never become the very thing that you're fighting against. Stand up, always stand. A man should never be sitting down on his butt trying to fight.
Right.
Speak. When you speak, always speak truth and act. So
I love it.
So you're and when you talk about speaking truth, Galatians 4:16 is very clear. It says, "Am I the enemy because I tell you the truth?" And so many men are afraid to tell the truth, and they're afraid. They don't even know what the truth is because everyone's told them that what they believe and what they see is not real, but it is real.
Yeah. Men got this. It's innate. Like you have things in you, and everybody has a conscience. Everybody knows right from wrong. But as a man specifically, if I'm just talking to men, you know, you have this natural thing in you to be a leader, to be a certain way, to see the world a certain way, to move a certain way. Now, you might not be acting on it properly as you should be, but every man has that in them. It should that spark should be in you somewhere. You know, I wasn't always living like that. It took for different influencers and shortcomings in my life for the light to finally, you know, to come on. I was a late bloomer. To do what I needed to do as a man, the things that was most important. And I always bring it back to ground level, because sometimes we go far out of space and we start hitting some big topics and we have big ideas and try to come to big, you know, conclusions. And I simplify things sometimes and I just talk about your personal life and how you're living. If you was in a room with all of those people and you're talking to people who are Democrats and you're talking to people who thinks they think differently than you, but we all kind of want the same things. And so what's the approach to getting these things, especially if you're a man? You know, I try to simplify things as much as possible. What do men want? You know, every man should want to be respected. Every man should want his last name to mean something. Every man should want his kids to have a future. Every man should want, you know, a beautiful woman, you know, or somebody who looks at him like a king. You know, you want a life that is a quality of life that, you know, that you could say, you know what, when you get old and gray, I lived a good life. I fought, you know, I lived purposefully. I did something. How do we get there? What are you doing? And what culturally are you doing right or wrong? What politically, policy wise, or what policies are you voting for and fighting for, right or wrong, that's getting you the outcomes of where you're at? And I try when I'm having town halls, when I'm talking to men, you know, I was in there having a town, I'm talking to men and I'm saying, we had a congressional candidate in there. He's suited to the nines. He had a tie on and everything. So I used him as an example. I said, men used to dress like him. I said, how many men do you see 40, 50, 60 years old dressing like him anymore. I said, you see young men, how many young men know how to tie a tie? How many young men know how to get firm handshakes, look a man in the eye,
Yeah.
control the room, command the room. I simplify things. And if I go to what side culturally teaches things or don't teach us things anymore, how do we get here? And I try to tie those things in because they made it okay to be a degenerate. They made it okay to not care about your opinions, just to accept everything now. That anything comes out your mouth now. Men used to, it used to have chivalry, to have decorum, to be well spoken, to, these things. It's one in my mind when I wanted the things that I wanted in life, the man that I wanted to become. It was a side or an ideology, I should say. Forget the sides, but the ideology. It said that's going to get me closer to the things that I want in life.
Yep.
Versus that. And I try to simplify things sometimes and bring it down to that. And hopefully, I feel like I think when a man hears that, if you got any type of sense in you, you're like, all right, he sound like he closer to the truth.
Well, and this is where we get into trying to just cut through all the mess in order to get somebody so that keep it simple, stupid. There's a reason why that's been popular forever, right? We want to keep it as simple as possible. We want to come out the other side understanding how we worked the problem and what the outcome was. But there's a saying that I have when I talk to people, right? And you just brought it up. Not everyone leads the Christian life. Not everyone. And this is the hardest thing for my Christian friends to accept. And I was like, listen to me. You got to accept people where they are, not where you want them to be, right? You have to embrace them where they are, and you have to be a good example for them so that they'll want to follow you. That will lead them to Jesus. The other part won't, right? This idea that you're better than them or you have more than them, that just leave that stuff aside, right? You gotta accept them, embrace them, love them right there, because we're going to battle, and you want that person to have your back. They can be an atheist. But if they have your back and they have a firm grip on loyalty and what it means to do the right thing, I'd rather have that person than somebody that goes and hides in a hole and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was afraid."
Yeah, no, that's true. You're gonna have people who might not be praying to the God that you pray to, but he really still might be a good person.
Yeah.
You might I know people who know the Bible in and out, and they horrible people. Like
Horrible.
You hustling God to me. So yeah, you can quote it frontwards and backwards, but you suck as a person. The most important thing that I'm taking away from what you're saying is to be the example. And I couldn't tell people to care about your image, your health, the things that come and not represent that. So when I started making this transition to the life that I'm living now, and we talked about this when you first had me on, this gym culture and the discipline that came with that. And all right, look at my results in life. Look how fast you've seen me ascend versus to the life I used to live. Because I talk about every man should have you might want it a little different. Everybody got their flavors and their different taste of things that they want, but it's a core set of things about, as a man that makes you feel respected and fulfilled. It's a certain box that every man should have, in their thing. And so if you see me ascend because I've been living a certain way, I started caring about my appearance. I started caring about my health. You see me in the gym religiously. I don't miss a night. That discipline helped me have confidence to go in a room at City Hall and speak against 500-600 people that I know 95% of those people in there are going to boo me, think differently, hate me, for whatever. It gave me the confidence to do that. It gave
me going back. More importantly, you keep coming back. It's taught you that strength is something you don't grow stronger by staying away. You grow stronger by going straight at it. That's how you get stronger.
Yeah. Some weeks it might be a Monday or Tuesday. I know Thursday coming up. Do I feel like going down here this weekend? All right, but what did the gym teach me? Do what you need to do when you don't feel like doing it. Now you said, and I'm so grateful for you having me on your platform. I'm grateful for you giving my name out to other people that you know. I'm grateful for every time that I went viral. But, a certain respect comes with your name when you're living a certain type of way. You have people that adore you or look at you because they respect your heart. They respect, the work that you put in to learn the things that you know and have the courage to say the things that you can say. They say, oh, I wish I could say that. I wish I had I was in a position to say what you say, that it's like, wow, like, okay. And you take that and now it's like, I have a certain responsibility now. When I get online and I post something now, I can't just post something willy-nilly now. I have a certain responsibility, a community that I'm speaking for now because, they want their families to be represented a certain way. And I'm not even a lawmaker. But my influence now matters. I think that's important.
And frankly, with that comes a great amount of responsibility. And by the way, I'll be the first to tell you, I speak very boldly, and I've been attacked at every front. Every front. I've been attacked for, saying things about fake Jews, not, they're evil. They're like synagogue of Satan. It's in the Bible. Sorry. It's Revelations 2:9, Revelations 3:9. And there's other things. I just use those because it says that they will come to you and tell you that they are of, and they're not. Right. And so I'm a very vocal person when it comes to cutting out evil, period. And that makes it very unpopular at times.
Right. Oh yeah.
But I'm not gonna shy away from it. I have no interest. I'm gonna continue to speak truth, and not my truth, but the truth that's right in front of us. You can see it, right? And it's uncomfortable, and it should be. Right. Sooner or later, if I say it over and over and over and over and over and over again, you'll get it.
Yeah, for sure. I tell people be careful with that too, or with me, or anybody like us. I said, don't idealize me. Like, don't fall in love with because you're not going to agree with everything that I say. And then one day I'm going to say something, and then you're going to hate me. And it's like, well, I told you you're not going to agree with everything that I say. You might agree with 75, 85, 90% of what I say, but leave that room.
Yeah. And
it's okay to disagree sometimes. We don't have to agree on everything, but that, our core values are the same, and it takes courage to stand up for what you believe in, even when it's about to piss even your own side off.
I do a lot of that too, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, John, we're gonna get together. I promise we would. I'm running for state chair right now for the state of Colorado. It's gonna be a battle, and it shouldn't be. I mean, like, I'm probably the only one that can fix it ever, and I think in the entire country, frankly.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna keep fighting, and but I'm gonna get out there to Philly, and I'm gonna. Man, we have got to connect, and we got to get connected with what's happening in Chicago, and we got to create a coalition. And frankly, I want to go have a conversation with the most unlikely people, because those are the people that are they're our brothers, they're our sisters, right? So, how do people follow you?
At Allante McAuley on all platforms, ALLANTEMCAULEY. That's across all platforms.
I'm proud of you, bro. I'm super proud of you. I'm proud of what you've been able to do and accomplish. And I'm more proud of the fact that you haven't given up. You continue to fight. You're going to win.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, and I'll reach back out to you probably in a week or so. May 30th is the race, is the deal. So
you got it. Let's go. Mine's May 19th. You got it.
Yeah. So how's that going?
Great. I think because of my name recognition. I mean, I'm fighting their sample ballot. Mine's my general is the primary on May 19th, but I'm fighting their email list and I'm fighting their sample ballot because they're not doing any real work. My opponents. I'm the one that's out here really speaking about the issues. So it's me versus their sample ballot that they mail out to every Republican's home. But because I'm out there every day, I think I can beat them.
I'm looking forward to it, bro. Praying for you. And thanks for doing all the hard work. And we'll have you on again. All right.
Likewise. Talk to you soon.
God bless you. God bless you, brother.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's a fighter. John's a fighter. He's going to do some amazing things. Just watch what happens in his life. Like, this is just the beginning. He thinks that this is at a full fire. I will tell you that give him a little bit and he's going to do some incredible things, not just in Philly, but around the entire country. Count on it. So I'm going to go ahead and pray us out. It's 5:00. Told you I'd be out here for 2 hours, but Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. If you can, go follow John, go follow Rich, And if you could drop them a few dollars for their campaigns, you can do that as well. I don't know why I feel like everything's just going to work out. I just feel like I'm in that place of Zen almost. And I got a lot of stuff happening right now. I got a lawsuit from a crazy woman that can't stop defaming me. That's crazy. We'll get through that. Pro se, which then I have the Coomer case that, they're trying to keep my attorneys, Peter Tickton, they're trying to basically say that he can't represent me in Colorado. We're appealing that. We have just a bunch of little stuff that needs to be cleaned up. We still have mail-in ballots, which is a massive problem. If we don't get rid of them, we're totally screwed. We have John Thune that's standing on the side or with his finger on the scale, not allowing us to get presidential appointments done. And yet I still feel like we're about to see a lot of things break loose. I feel like there are a lot of people that are going to end up getting arrested. I don't know. Maybe it's just selfish ambition, but I believe that it is going to get itself resolved. So anyway, go ahead and share it. You're the ambassadors of truth. If you like the interviews, we're going to split it up, put a bunch of stuff out there. You can follow me on all the channels at Joe Oltmann. And I'm going to go ahead and pray us out. So Father God, thank you for the time that we could have today with Rich and with John. Father, we are so grateful for the opportunity we have to be able to be a part of this just amazing process to restore you to our community, to our country, and to the world. We can see all of the devil's plans very clearly now. We can see what they did, not just in the elections in the United States, but around the world. And Father, we are just incredibly grateful for the opportunity we can to strip out this evil and to run it back into the hole it came from. Father, please give us the tools that we may run forward with those tools, and we may do the things that you want us to do individually and collectively in order to rid our communities and our country of this rot. We recognize what the judiciary has become. So Father, I just ask you that you would supernaturally just crush these people that have come in positions of power and authority that are just evil people doing the biddings of other evil people. We knew this wouldn't be a easy battle, Father. We knew. But we are grateful for the opportunity to be able to stand together and to build relationships with each other. So Father, I just ask you to give us the strength and the courage to continue to stand, but also that we can have discernment. We never become the very thing that we're fighting against. And we can take the time to touch grass and to just recalibrate when we feel like we're getting off base. We ask these things, Father, humbly and in gratitude. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same station.
Rise up untamed in the heart of the fire where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through.